howdy, friends and floorheads. We are back for episode 2 of Echoes of Blood. We're playing Shiver and Shiver Gothic by Parable Games to explore Gothic horror. If you missed episode 1, I recommend you go back and check it out. So, where are we and how did we get here? It is October 31st, 1888, in England. Our 4 characters are attending a getaway at a country estate of Lord and Lady Randolph Churchill in Hampshire by New Forest. Victorian London's elite are all in attendance. Our 4 characters encountered a large wolf with ember eyes during their carriage ride to the party, but somehow Lady Rosalind dissuaded the beast as it faded back into the darkness. Arriving at the Gothic estate, Lady Churchill welcomed them, and then they joined all the other guests in the main ballroom for the gala. Elisabetta, the spiritualist, lurked unnoticed during the party, trying to understand the supernatural power she sensed in the ballroom and around Martha Cowdery, who she first met when she and her husband found them on the road after the encounter with the wolf. Harry, the slayer, he watched the elites mingle and gossip, people well above his class and station. Dr. Charlotte, the mad genius, spent time with the Ashcroft twins. The sister Evelyn was keenly focused on Dr. Charlotte's opinion of her brother William's work. Lady Rosalind, the immortal, was the talk of the party, holding court with Lord Randolph Churchill, Prince Albert Victor, and other elites. With Dr. Charlotte's help, William Ashcroft demonstrated his latest invention, impressing everyone except for Dr. Charlotte. The gala was interrupted by the Cowdreys, who claimed to have employed Mary Ann Nichols, a Whitechapel murder victim. Martha Cowdery accused the guests of ignoring Mary Ann's fate while they partied without any care. She held up a locket, which Elisabetta identified as the source of the otherworldly power, and Mary smashed it on the ground, releasing an energy that Elisabetta sensed as dangerous. So let's jump in and continue playing after our opening titles. We'll be right back.
Attention, brave viewers. This video features adults immersed in a spine-chilling horror RPG experience. The content likely includes supernatural elements, horror-related events, and potentially scenes of violence. Viewer discretion is advised. Enjoy.
Before, there was a lot of chatter and just a murmur of everybody at the gala talking, even during the demonstration, even with after the gasps. But after this demonstration by Martha Cowdery, where she crushed this thing, it was really just a major faux pas. You could see those that care about these things were like, "Oh, I can't believe this is happening!" And of course, the butler, Mr. Stevens, immediately has grabbed Harry to try to kind of quell this situation. Now that that's happened, Harry, Stevens has grabbed and kind of you two have pushed aside Mr. Cowdery, Francis Cowdery. The woman, Martha, is standing there, and you can see she seems kind of dazed.
Miss Cowdery.
Yes?
I think we should step away for a moment. You've made your point, but let's not make a further spectacle about this.
Can I get a quick heart check from you?
I don't see why not. As soon as I find out which of my 87 windows I'm in. Heart, you say?
Heart, I say.
Well, those are certainly results.
All right, and we get our first failure
Um,
and tick on the clock. Uh-oh,
mhm.
what's
Well, I have a luck banked. Can I use that
you
to
you have so yeah, real quick, you can use one luck before the roll
before?
to add a
Well,
yep,
okay,
to add a die. If you roll 2 luck, you can turn that into a success.
got it. Okay, carry on.
All right, so we're gonna tick our first item on the doom clock.
I've ruined everything.
Oh, you have. This is the beginning of the end. So she goes, "Oh no, where's my husband?" And her eyes are open. She just seems incredibly disoriented. Francis is coming up and goes, don't touch her, don't touch her."
She seems unwell, sir.
And Stevens jumps in. "Mr. and Mrs. Cowdery, I'm going to escort you to your carriage." And Francis has now kind of taken his wife, and he's almost holding her up at this point. And he
Mhm.
goes, "Of course." And he turns to her and he says, "Honey, you did well. You did well." And they, without any help, are kind of walking towards the exit to the ballroom. Steven snaps his fingers and he motions over. And Harry, you don't recognize this person that's being called over,
Mm-hmm.
but you recognize how he's dressed. He's obviously a head footman.
Mm-hmm.
You know that by his dress, but he was not the head footman when you worked with the Churchills. He goes, "Mr. Westbrook, please escort them, get their carriage ready." "Of course." And he kind of nods.
While that's going on, Craig, I'd like to see. Now, I know she had pulled some kind of locket or crystal or something out and smashed it. Is it like was it on a chain or anything? Was it just like this one little piece?
Yeah, it was a necklace that she was wearing, and it's a locket. And as you look down, Harry, at this,
Mm-hmm.
you can see this shattered locket. The locket is about the size of like a small pear, so it's a pretty
Mm-hmm.
large locket. It's opened. You see a picture of a young woman in that locket. The glass is shattered.
Mm-hmm.
The metal of it looks like to be some sort of alloy, so it survived pretty well. It's just mostly the
Mm-hmm.
glass that's smashed.
Right. I'm gonna kneel down and pick that up.
Mhm.
And if there's like, it seems like it's a pretty small amount of glass, so it's not like a big thing that's gonna, represent a danger to folks. So I'll probably just like use my hands to sort of brush it up and just, stuff it in a pocket or something for now until I get to a place where I can put it away.
And you get kind of a Stevens kind of puts his hand on your shoulder lightly
Mm-hmm.
and you can just tell
Mm-hmm.
like a thank you,
Mm-hmm.
as he is trying to return peace here. I'm going to cut to
Mm-hmm.
you, Lady Rosalind, and Lord Randolph is there, and he goes, he turns to you and to the prince and goes, "I am so embarrassed. I can't believe this happened."
What for?
I recognize the two of you would never encounter such a awful demonstration.
Oh, on the contrary, I quite enjoy awful demonstrations.
And the prince kind of looks at you and gives a bit of a half smile, and he goes, "Randy, it keeps things interesting."
That indeed. She does have a point, though.
"How so?"
Well, of course, we're here enjoying quite the frivolity while a murderer runs the streets of London.
Of course. Abilene, will you please explain to Lady Rosalind how much progress you're making? And he kind of puffs up a little bit, and his wife's next to him, and he goes, "No, of course, your Majesty. Yes. You see, Lady Rosalind, we have isolated most of the violence. It seems that whoever this is targeting women of questionable morals. And you see, as soon as we get ahead of it, we'll be able to understand it. He's obviously some sort of possessed psychopath, and we're getting very close. And I assure you, Lady Rosalind, it is nothing that you of your station would ever worry about. You don't seem to be, how should I say it, his type."
Ladies of, I'm sorry, did you say questionable morals?
Yes, prostitutes, servants. Of course, you understand what I'm saying.
Oh, so that makes them less valuable.
Well,
Because they don't live life the way that you think they should.
Lord Randolph jumps in. He goes, "Oh no, I don't think that that's necessarily what he meant. Your point is taken, Lady Rosalind. It was that was words that did not need to be spoken. Aberline, I don't think that's what you meant." And Aberline knows to keep his gap shut at this point. You can see it on his face.
Lord Churchill, I would find myself much more embarrassed by this one's presence than by the initial scene. And I'm going to wander off to find Dr. Charlotte somewhere.
So you saying that and wandering off, anybody that's looking can see that's exactly what you see on his face. He is so embarrassed that you are walking away, even though he has got the prince right there, that you have got something better to do, and that you have been affected by all of this. I want to go to Elizabetha now. Elizabetha, you, when we left episode 1, felt something released from this locket, and the last words I said to you is you could tell that the dead have entered the house.
I'm looking around, and there's just this, cold shiver up my spine. It's very unpleasant, and I'm a bit at a loss what to do and where to go. So I can see that Harry's busy with the butler, and I think I'm going to see if I can find Charlotte, Dr. Charlotte, and make my way to her.
So both you and Lady Rosalind are working your way through the crowd, which is now collapsing in, because remember, it had been cleared out. The center had been cleared out for the demonstration. William is now kind of pushing this table on wheels where he had his contraption on it. He's pushing and he's talking to Dr. Charlotte as he does it. So Lady Rosalind and Elizabetha, you're kind of working your way through. Dr. Charlotte, William turns to you and says, do you have any side effects?
Nothing as of yet. We will see.
And I've understood... I've interviewed those that are receiving the signals of these transmissions, but I would love to understand what it felt like to transmit when you thought of that word femur, and you saw that it was received by Lady Churchill. Did you get a sense of feeling? Did something leave you?
I'm going to say this in a super low voice to him. My word was not femur.
Oh.
So I felt nothing.
Oh. Right. Oh.
Let us talk about this shortly. I am interested in your contraption.
Yes, and now he's covering it. He's taking like the cloth that was on the table and he's covering it. He goes, no, of course. And Dr. Charlotte, I would like some time just with the two of us. I have a private question that I feel like only you could answer.
Oh, I love private questions that only I can answer. Of course.
So I think at the same time, Lady Rosalind and Elizabetha arrive.
And William, I must take my leave, but I will come back.
Of course. Thank you. And you can tell he's thanking you for multiple reasons.
I'm gonna walk over to my lovely ladies. Wow, isn't this an interesting spectacle tonight?
In more ways than one.
And how are you feeling, Elizabetha?
She looks towards Lady Rosalind, and then I keep the Eastern European accent. I say, there was something in that locket that came out.
Oh.
It was something dead.
Ooh.
Oh, now that is interesting.
We should gather the locket.
I think
Where did it go?
I think I saw Harry pick it up.
That's not the worst thing. Okay.
So Stevens has left you, Harry. You have got the locket, and you've kind of gathered up the glass. Let's have you standing up as you've kind of finished that. And like I said, everything's kind of collapsed in. So now you're kind of amongst everybody as they are trying to figure out where the food and drink are again. And let's see if we can save this party.
Yeah, well, I think when Harry looks up and kind of sees the three Hecate, gathered on the fringes together, I'll head over in that direction, with a polite nod and say, "That's I'm sure not what anyone is expecting this party to turn into, but the lady had a point."
Yes. Though I am growing excitement to this, you picked up a locket. Do you mind if I see it?
And kind of, I give you a look and sort of fish it out of my pocket and hand it over. Careful, the glass is broken.
And I'll take it and look it over.
So you look it over, Dr. Charlotte, and nothing special. Just a locket, not very expensive, but well made. The picture in it is early photography, but you can see that it's a younger woman, dressed in modest clothes. Nothing special. It's possible you recognize her picture from the papers. She was what has now been found out to be the second victim in Whitechapel, and a gruesome murder. She was found in the streets. And Elizabeth, as that locket comes out and you see it again and being handed over to Dr. Charlotte, you sense nothing. So all of that centralized power that you were getting from that locket, you get nothing from it now.
I reach out and just very tentatively touch it, take my hand back, and I look to the others and say, whatever was in there has been let out. It's empty.
Well,
I look around.
May I ask what you mean by that? Because the photo's still in there, but I don't think that's what you're talking about.
When she broke that locket, something came out, something escaped, and I look around, trying to see if I can sense it or see it somewhere, but something came out, something dead, something not alive has been let loose. And this is true. I look towards Charlotte and say, Charlotte,
yes.
I'm not joking. This is not some
Yes, my friend here is no parlor trick fortune teller as the other one in attendance.
And I nod with a slight look of disappointment on my face.
Someone appears between Dr. Charlotte and Harry. And Harry, it's somebody who was snapped away. It's Mr. Westbrook, the head footman. He goes, ma'am, sir, if it's okay, I would like to take possession of the Cowdrey's locket and give it to them. They're in their carriage. They'll be leaving soon. And despite the awful demonstration, I believe I should return their property to them.
Just taking a quick look, there wasn't any engraving or anything on it, right? It was just the photo.
Yeah, no, there was no words, no engraving on the inside cover.
Well, I'll look to the good doctor since she is currently in possession of it.
I'm not pleased, but I'll pass it over.
He has a handkerchief in his hand. You kind of put it in the handkerchief. He puts in a little bundle. You see him put it into his side pocket. Give me a smarts roll, Dr. Charlotte. You are so smart. 3 successes. Holy cow. And 2 luck. You can make that 4 successes if you haven't banked any luck yet.
I think I do have a luck bank from last session.
Okay,
so I'll make it 4 successes.
Okay. So I'm about to give you a ton of information.
Okay.
All right, you ready? That's a hell of a roll. 4 successes is
Well done.
So the first thing for your first success that you notice is as Mr. Westbrook is leaving the ballroom with this in his possession, his jacket, he's not going out the door to the front of the house. So the door you came into, which is the straightest line to get to the carriage, he does not go that way, which seems a little odd, but somewhat explainable. 2, before he goes to the side exit at the of this ballroom, 2 other footmen come to him, and there seems to be a discussion and an exchange, and you're not sure, but it looks like the locket is handed over to one of the lower footmen, who also does not go out what would be the straightest line to the outdoors. 3rd success. There's something odd about the footmen. They are all young, and they feel uniform, which is really hard for you to put your finger on because they look different, but they're all like such similar ages. They all are like similar weights and physique, and with the type of work you do, that makes you go right, a little bit. And then for your 4th success, the ladies of the house also give you that vibe. It's going to be difficult for me to continue making this a mystery if you keep rolling that well.
That's fair. That's fair. As I look kind of this over, I'll turn back to the 3 and say, there's something extremely peculiar about the workers in this house. They seem very personally made, one would say. Uniformed. Oh, and also, Mr. Westbrook is not giving that amulet back to
the Cowders.
The couple, yeah.
Oh, well, we should go get it back from him then. Right?
I should think so. Now, when Dr. Charlotte calls that out, I'm going to take a look at the staff, and I imagine a lot of the younger staff are faces that I'm not familiar with since it's been a while since I worked here. I mean, am I noticing that when she points it out? Does it look like a different type of crowd than used to work here?
So this is one of those things that you would never notice unless somebody pointed it out, right? And that's exactly what Dr. Charlotte just did. You look at the footmen, the lower butlers, the ladies, serving, walking and serving, and not a familiar face among them. All appear to be like in their late teens, early 20s, which really surprises you because one of the things that you remember about Stevens, the head butler, is he put a tremendous amount of value on experience. So like even Westbrook, the head footman, his age surprised you as well, how young he was, because it's very hard for you to imagine Stevens would have promoted somebody of that age. So typically Stevens's staff would be considerably older and more experienced.
Fascinating. I imagine he's still busy, dealing with the aftermath and the party in general.
He's actually just finished walking away from talking to Lady Churchill.
Okay.
So he's kind of working himself back into the party.
Yeah, if I can head over and like get a moment of his time. Mr. Stevens, I hate to trouble you. I know you've got a lot going on at the moment, but
No trouble, Harry. And again, thank you.
No, I'm happy to do it where I can. It seems like there's an awful lot of well, if you don't mind my saying so, the staff seem very young by your standards.
He closes his eyes and just shakes his head.
Mhm.
He kind of looks around to see if anybody is in earshot and keeps a volume that makes sure that nobody's going to pick up on it, because the din of a party has returned, right? He goes, Harry, it's very frustrating. 4 weeks ago, I went back to the main estate in London to prepare it. I mean, we're soon to be winter. The Churchills will be headed back to London. Parliament will be back in session again, and of course, I head up there for a few weeks to prepare the house. I come back, and not only has he hired a new head footman, but he fired the entire staff.
Did you say why?
I asked Lord Churchill about it. Lord Churchill said that that Mr. Westbrook came highly recommended, and that it was time for a change. And quite frankly, Harry, at this point in my career, I didn't want to create too much of a fuss, but I have to be honest with you, these last few weeks have been frustrating. I've not found the staff to be anywhere at the level that I would expect, and I am frustrated that the Churchills don't seem to recognize that, and I'm embarrassed that you noticed.
Oh, well, I mean, it's not causing a problem. I'm just it struck me as very curious, and so this was all Lord Randolph's decision then.
That's how. Yes, apparently, someone recommended him this Westbrook fella, who, quite frankly, does not deserve to be a head footman by any stretch of the imagination. He doesn't seem to be a bad person, but he's a footman, if you understand what I mean by that, a junior footman at best. And I tried to inquire on who recommended this to Lord Churchill, and I was dismissed.
Any idea what Mr. Winslow, the old head footman, is doing now?
First thing I'm going to do when I get back to London is try to catch up with him. Now, granted, he only had a few years left in him, but he was, as you remember, Harry, a phenomenal footman. And I don't want to sound arrogant, but I would venture to guess we had the best staff in London, and he was a big part of that.
Well, sorry you're having to put up with this, but as they say, the master of the house is always right, even when he's wrong.
Yes, Harry, and quite frankly, it might be speeding up my retirement, if you understand what I'm saying. I am too old to be putting up with this.
Well, I'm not saying you haven't earned some rest.
I want to cut back to the three ladies. You're there, Lady Rosalind, Dr. Charlotte, Elizabetha. You've gotten some information from Dr. Charlotte. Harry vanished. You see him over there talking to Stevens, which makes sense.
Would it be difficult to kind of slip out of the party and towards where probably the carriage is to see if they've already left?
No, there's nobody kind of policing things. So yeah, but there's people coming in and out of the ballroom.
I think I look towards Charlotte and Lady Rosalind and I say, I think I'm going to see if the Cowgies have left.
They do seem like the most interesting people here.
I agree.
Come with you.
So three of you are going to head to the front of the house?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would linger back a bit just in case, just not to make it seem like all three of us are leaving together.
Ah, smart. Smart.
I'm gonna
One thing I
grab
will.
a champagne flute on my way.
The one thing that you notice, Dr. Charlotte, is you're kind of taking a half beat, right? So it's not just the three of you as a pack leaving. You look over and it seems like, even though you can't hear it, it's on the other side of the room. You notice William, and it seems his sister Evelyn is giving him an earful. And you just kind of notice that before you step out. You catch up to Elizabetta and Lady Rosalind. Lady Rosalind has her champagne. Elizabetta is walking, I imagine, at a pace with some urgency. So maybe it's a little bit of trying to catch up to her. You get out the front door. It's held open by one of the footmen. And there's a carriage. In fact, there's two. There's one carriage that is set. There's a large circle, a drive that in front of the estate. And traditionally they would come in, they would go to the left, and everybody kind of goes clockwise around this. So you have the carriage and you can see the Cowdreys in the carriage, and there's a driver up the front. The rain is pouring down. The thunder is rumbling as you're out there. It's very, very difficult to hear anything but the storm. Behind it is a second carriage, and you notice a ton of dirt on the wheels, caked onto the wheels, mud and dirt caked onto the wheels. It is driverless, but there's a man at the base of the Cowdrey's carriage talking to the driver. So it appears that the driver of the previous carriage behind them is talking to the Cowdrey driver.
I stay in the doorway. I'm not heading out into that pouring rain.
Absolutely.
I observe the scene. Can I see enough into the carriage that I can see how the Cowdreys are looking? Or
yeah, they're sitting together. She seems to be leaning up against the wall, the inside of the carriage. The fact that Francis is not attending to her actively lets you know she's probably okay, right? Because if she wasn't, we saw how doting he was of his wife. He leans out, and I think maybe Lady Rosalind, you're the only one that can then hear this with any clarity over all the rain. He goes, "Can we go? We are tired. We need to get back to the train station." And you hear the driver go, "Mr. Cowdrey, we're trying to sort that out, so it'll be just a moment."
They're trying to stop them from leaving immediately. Saying, "Can we go?" And the footman is saying they're sorting it in a minute. Seems strange.
Do we get involved?
I'm not really interested in getting drenched. This was a very expensive outfit.
Oh, Lady Rosalind. Charlotte's. I'm gonna go out there and go up to the carriage.
So you start walking towards the carriage, and the conversation between the two drivers stops. The driver of the Cowdrey carriage, gets back up and seems to be kind of getting ready to move the horses again. And the other driver starts walking up to you, and he goes, "Milady, unfortunately, nobody's leaving. The main bridge, I don't know if you remember seeing it, the large stone bridge that went across the river, it's been taken out. It's been completely washed out. It happened right behind me as I was coming in with guests. And I'm afraid, granted, you were supposed to be here all weekend, but no one is leaving. We're going to arrange for the Cowdreys to have housing here on the estate. But unfortunately, ma'am, no one can leave."
Ah, understandable. And did the Cowdreys get their amulet yet?
I'm not sure I understand.
Oh, that's okay.
So he's walking past you now to go back into the estate, probably to share the news of the bridge. So you're kind of standing in the rain. You definitely have access. No one's involved here.
Okay. I'll walk up to their carriage and kind of knock knock in the pouring rain.
And you see Francis goes, listen, uh, my lady, we're not up for conversation. We're going to be on our way, and I'm sorry that you may have found this embarrassing or untoward, but
Oh no, that matters not to me, not embarrassing at all. But because you showed us such kindness, I figured they would have let you know that the bridge is collapsed and you will not be leaving tonight. So instead of sitting in here, you may as well come join us in the parlor room.
and he turns and goes, Martha, she says that the bridge is washed out and that we're not going to be able to leave. Here, honey, let me help you. And he kind of pops the door open on the carriage, and he's got his coat over her head to shield her from the rain, and is now come out, and he kind of nods to you a little bit. The driver goes, Mr. and Mrs. Cowdrey, we're going to arrange for housing. We've got, you can be in one of the guest homes. And Mr. Francis turns to him and goes, when it's ready, it's ready. Until then, we're getting out of this rain.
When I have large quarters here, of course you're welcome to stay.
So they start working their way up the steps. Dr. Charlotte, are you headed back up the steps as well, or?
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to Lady Rosalind and Elizabetha and tell them the bridge is out, so we're all trapped here.
Great.
I'm going to cut to Harry. Harry, you've kind of finished up your conversations with Stevens. Harry, I must
Of course.
And if you need anything, remember, you are a guest now.
Old habits die hard, they say.
And he kind of fades off into the crowd.
Okay. So looking around, is Elizabetta still here?
No,
or did she go out with the
the three women you've been spending time with who came in with you on the carriage? No one's around.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna see if I can find either Westbrook or one of the other new young staff that doesn't seem to be too heavily engaged with party business.
By sheer coincidence, one walks up, offers you a canopy.
Mm-hmm.
Sir, food?
Very good, thank you. I used to work here, was a coachman for the family for a number of years. It's
very good.
You seem to have come into a fairly good position here.
Yes, the Churchills are wonderful, which I'm sure you know.
Indeed. So, Mr. Westbrook, you an acquaintance of his? Did he bring you on board?
Yes, previously I worked with Mr. Westbrook at another home, and he secured a position here at the estate, and he brought his entire staff with him. And it's my understanding that we will, of course, be going back to London.
So wait, he and his entire staff abandoned his previous employer?
So you'd have to talk to Mr. Westbrook. I don't know exactly what happened. He told us that we are changing and moving along. Now, don't get me wrong. I have nothing against Sir Blackwood. He was wonderful. In fact, he's here. But yes, we work with the Churchills. I have to get going.
Of course. Sorry to delay you.
And no role needed, Harry. All of that was truth. He definitely told you what he knows as far as the arrangements and how he ended up here. His talk about Mr. Westbrook was on. You got no sense of him feeling interrogated or having to hide anything.
Okay, good. And he didn't seem, just from the way you played him, he didn't seem at all weird or under any kind of effects or anything. He just seemed like a busy young
heart
man.
check.
A heart check, you say?
Yeah. If you want to dig a little bit deeper.
Alrighty.
You want to spend a luck?
I am going to spend a luck. I'm glad you asked. That's an extra skill die, yeah? Okay.
Why are you doing this, Harry? Why?
I'm making up for last week.
Not a pure failure. I mean, failure. So I'm going to give you kind of a limited thing. We are going to tick the clock. So that adds, because of the 2 strange on a failure, we're now at 3 on the doom clock. Very quickly, for those of you watching, the doom clock is a timer. And if my characters fail a roll and they roll any strange, for each of those stranges, they add to the doom clock. When they get to quarter past, something bad will happen. When they get to half past, something even worse will happen. When they get to quarter of midnight, it's going to be really bad. And let's just hope for their sakes they don't make it all the way around this clock. Harry, so nothing strange, right? In the same way that, not like Dr. Charlotte Elizabetha Strange, right? But he didn't look healthy. Maybe the man could use a hamburger.
A little on the pale and wan side?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. And I wouldn't say emaciated by any stretch of the imagination, but just somebody like, when you see somebody and it's not like they look unhealthy, but it's just like they could do for a cheeseburger.
Yeah, fair enough. All right.
Now, very quickly, too, the other information that he mentioned, Sir Blackwood. You know this person. He is in Parliament as well. Somebody very close to Churchill. Very, very well respected. Station-wise, right up there with Lord Churchill, which says a lot. So the only thing above him would be, of course, the royals, or Prince Albert. You know that they have a friendship. It was nothing that you had ever witnessed, so you've never met Blackwood. This is something that would always happen in Parliament.
Got it. I think now that this conversation is done, I'm going to try and sort of meander over to the area where Lord Blackwood currently is. Not, I'm certainly not the kind of person that would just introduce myself to him, but like just sort of linger nearby, listen to the music, see who he's talking to, maybe see if I can pick up any of his conversation.
Let's have you working your way over to where Blackwood is. Takes you a little bit to figure out because he's sitting. He's not kind of carousing with the rest of the party goers. He's kind of off in the corner sitting. Cut back to my 3 ladies. You are helping Francis and Martha, and there's a side parlor that you have no trouble finding right off of the main entrance. And everybody nobody's in this parlor. He lets her down onto the couch gently, takes his jacket and shakes all the rain off of it and says, this is less than ideal, but it's better than being in that terrible carriage. Martha, close your eyes. Close your eyes. And he kind of looks at the 3 of you like, like, why are you here?
I ignore him and move to the couch where Martha's sitting and sit down next to her, reach for her hands, just put my hands on top of them.
Are we trying to do something in that process? Or is it just a matter of comforting?
Not yet.
Okay. and as you do that, you can tell that Francis at first was kind of like, and then he stops himself. You seem harmless, but you can see he kind of went through that, right? That he was originally probably going to stop you and question it, but he doesn't after he sees, how gentle you are. And she ends up leaning a little bit on you, Elizabetha. Francis sits down. He's just taking the rein off of him and just kind of trying to straighten himself.
right now I'm drenched, so yeah, this isn't the most ladylike thing, but she's gonna dry off with whatever large curtain is in the room. Just gently damp herself off because it's right there.
So we
Oh,
see
for
Dr.
God's sake, and I'll go off to my room for towels or sheets or something.
Okay. Are you taking Dr. Charlotte with you?
No, I'm gonna leave her there acting like a lunatic,
don't
cleaning the
stop.
curtains. And be like, oh God.
You kind of fade into the back of the parlor, and we just see you taking a curtain and kind of drying yourself off. A footman comes up and goes, my lady, you are drenched. I'm happy to take you upstairs if you wish to change. But these are not towels, my lady." And he's trying to not. He's not going to manhandle you, but he's trying to not touching the curtains. Was kind of like, please let go of the curtains.
Well, they would not be so absorbent if it wasn't meant for it to get a little bit wet.
If you, we have many towels, many towels. Please.
I do not see a towel yet, so when you bring a towel, I will stop.
Very good, very good. And he skitters off.
And about this time, I'm walking back in with a towel. For real, Charlotte.
Oh, yes.
I imagine that this distracts Francis.
Very much so.
Okay. And I lean forward towards Martha, and in a very low, soft voice, I say, "Martha, who gave you that locket?"
I'm trying to remember where it came from. I think maybe she left it behind. Or Francis. Yes, my love. Where did this locket come from? Where is the locket? And Francis goes, "Oh dear, I'm afraid we left it in the ballroom. Yes, the locket was dropped off. As part of her things. They, of course, she had no family. Why do you ask?" He says to you.
Something was in the locket, and when you broke it, it came out.
Oh, we've lost the picture. I would
No,
assume...
not the picture. It was something else.
I'm sorry? Was there something else in there?
Yes. Whose idea was it to break the locket?
I think, Martha, I think you kind of got away from yourself. Yes, I brought it to make the point. And she turns to you, Elizabeth, and she goes, "What's happening in Whitechapel is awful. And it is a part of London that nobody pays attention to. And to have, we've got the head inspector of Scotland Yard here drinking and carousing. We've got Mr. Lusk, who claims to, be organizing the merchants to find this killer. He's here for a long weekend while women are dying. And I think I got caught up a little bit. If I had known something was in there, I would have not broken it. But I was trying to make my point."
Which you did very well.
You made your point, and whoever wanted whatever was in that locket out got what they wanted. We will find out what it was. No doubt it will reveal itself.
Let's cut to Dr. Charlotte and Lady Rosalind. Dr. Charlotte, you now have a towel. You have released the draperies.
Yes. Yes.
What in the world are you doing?
I was wet and the water was in my eye.
Come on. You're not that scatterbrained. We all know how to find a towel.
Absolutely. But do you not find it interesting that this item, maybe artifact, was in the hand of a mother to just be released in the party?
And I'm not sure exactly what to think about it. Obviously, I know that there's much more beyond most understanding, but I'm not really sure what this means. I do find it quite interesting, and hopefully a lot of fun as well.
Yes.
This
I
party
agree.
is getting really boring,
Well, you're the belle of the ball as always.
of course.
Before we cut to Harry, oh, go ahead. No, please.
No, no, no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So before we cut to Harry, Dr. Charlotte, you know that you're being watched a little bit, and you kind of turn your head, and William is in the doorway of the far part of the parlor, and he's being a little bit sheepish, not wanting to get your attention, but is happy that you've locked eyes. We'll cut to you, Harry. You're working your way through the party, and things are starting to be forgotten. So everybody, the talk is back. The little groups and have gathered, and everybody's kind of doing their thing. People are dancing again in the center of the ballroom. You work your way up to Sir Blackwood. He's sitting there, sipping some sort of brown liqueur, probably a bourbon or something, or a scotch. And no one seems to be talking to him. He doesn't seem to be talking to anybody. He seems to be taking in everything in front of him. You would have expected him to be with Churchill and the Prince, based on who he is. And he doesn't seem to be.
Okay. Well, I will get myself a glass of something. Just something I can sip at. I don't want to get impaired, certainly. But what is his? I mean, is he showing any particular mood? Is he just kind of, sitting like, well, he doesn't look depressed or?
No, doesn't look happy. It doesn't look sad, depressed. If you were to say anything, again, no role here, I don't think. He seems observant, and content, right? So sometimes, if someone's looking for something to do, he's not. He seems he's leaned back into this chair, and there's a couch next to him. So if he wanted company, he would have sat on the couch.
Right.
But he seems content. He's kind of holding the top of the glass over the chair of the arm and sipping it periodically.
Okay. Well, I mean, Harry is more extroverted than I am. Let's put it that way.
We call this role playing.
Yes, exactly. It's hard. It's so hard for me. But I'll kind of, just as I'm sort of passing by in front of him, just kind of do the little, nod, good evening, sir, kind of thing.
You get the should I know you look. And then he just gives you a polite return nod.
Okay. I don't think I'm gonna push that at this point. I don't. It's not a way to casually start up a conversation. So I hear all your servants have left you. So, I mean, if I were Dr. Charlotte, I would totally do that. But Harry will not. So yeah, I think I'm just going to take a seat, probably not too far away, maybe on that couch you mentioned earlier, and just sort of watch the flow of the party and sort of get a feel for how the servants are operating, because that's a world I know better.
Yep.
So it's like, I'm sure that most of the staff is those who are serving drinks and canapes or whatever are getting things done, but just like see what I can pick up from that. And also if I catch sight of Westbrook again, I may seek him out.
Let's cut back to the parlor. Stevens walks past William, walks in and goes, Mr. and Mrs. Cowdrey, we have arranged for a place for you to stay in one of the guest homes. We have everything on the carriage. We'll, of course, ride you there. Very good, Francis says, and he's kind of helping his wife up.
I squeeze Martha's hand and I say, "Rest well."
And she gives you a lethargic nod.
Is she all right?
Who are you asking?
Just kind of the room in general.
Okay. Yeah.
Usually how I talk is just to the room in general, and people respond.
So Stevens responds immediately. He goes, yes, of course, Lady Rosalind, we of course will have a doctor come look at her, but we'll make sure she is well.
I can look at her.
Oh, yeah, of course. And like suddenly he like pieces together like, oh no, yes,
Just raise my eyebrow at her.
Mr. Cowdery, would that be okay? You've gotten the sense, Dr. Charlotte, that Cowdery is aware of who you are. Of course, you guys rode in the carriage together, so I think he feels comfortable. Because of course, should we? Is there? They would obviously would want privacy. And Stevens goes, no, of course. Here. Let's go over here to the side room.
Mm-hmm. Take her hand and bring her over. Sit her down. And like almost out of nowhere, you see her bring out her doctor's bag.
Okay.
And she's going to start examining her.
Give me a smarts roll. Okay. And don't forget, if you have luck, you can use it.
I do
Smarts
have luck.
roll.
Would I include that in a talent? Sorry, in the skill dice, right?
Skill die, yep.
Okay. So I'll up that by one.
Smart. Two
That's
successes.
a lot of
You
dice.
can reload that luck. You rolled a luck, so you can go ahead and add that back in. For that success, she's fine. You're seeing symptoms of exhaustion. I think the prescription that comes to your mind is, she needs some time, needs some rest. As you look at her, though, she's probably in her maybe late 40s.
Okay.
Her heart registers older than that. So when you listen to her heart, you would think you're listening to the heart of a woman who's maybe 10 or 15 years older than her. Not enough to make you concerned or anything, but that's what your success picks up.
Interesting.
She has an old ticker.
She'll store that and say, oh, what I wouldn't give to just see how you tick on the inside. But you seem to be fine. You just need rest.
Thank you, Dr. Charlotte.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think rest is needed. If you don't mind getting my husband, I think I need to lie down.
Of course. And she'll walk out. Mr. Cowdery, your wife needs to lie down.
I agree, but otherwise?
Otherwise, she's fine.
Wonderful. Stevens, I don't think we need another doctor. Obviously, Dr. Charlotte here is more than qualified. I think we just need a bed. So if you could take us to the guest home, I think we will. No, of course. So Stevens working that. William has kind of worked his way into the room.
Yeah.
But he's trying to like blend into the wallpaper.
Well, excuse me. I'm gonna turn around and walk over to William.
I didn't want to interrupt. I just didn't know if you had a moment. But please, if there's something going on here that I can come back.
Oh, no one's dead. And she'll kind of hold out my arm for him to take and for him to lead the way.
He does. He goes, maybe you and I could go to the library, and it won't take long.
Oh, that's fine.
So he takes you down a hallway, takes you to a library. Reeks of cigar smoke. bookshelves so tall that they have the ladders on rails in order to access all of the books. Or Churchill does well for himself. As you enter the library, you notice William is very conscious of what's behind him. So you see him kind of looking behind him before he shuts the door. And he sits down with you. Again, Charlotte, I would love, not now, maybe when back in London, I'd like to talk more about what appears to be a failure of my invention, though I do appreciate what you did. But I have a question for you. He reaches into the inside of his jacket and he pulls out a vial of blood. We're going to take a 10-minute break. We'll be right back. us
It's
back.
fine.
So Dr. Charlotte, William pulls out this vial of blood. He goes, I don't know who to bring this to. And I don't know how to explain this. Could you look at this blood, please?
Where is it from?
It's from Evelyn. I don't know how to explain this. I don't have a twin.
That's impossible. They're everywhere.
She came into our lives when I was about 7. And my family and everyone just accepted her. And I'll be very honest with you, for majority of my life, she just became my twin. We look, of course, very similar. I was a twin in the womb, but the other child did not survive. And maybe 3-4 years ago, just was looking back and having some conflicts with Evelyn, and just realized, I don't know how to, I remembered that she just came into our lives. And could you just look at her blood?
Oh, yes, of course I can. Certainly. Oh, this is fascinating.
So, Harry, let's have you seeing Westbrook kind of holding court a little bit with some of the staff. Seems to be doing what a head footman should be doing, which is making sure that everybody looks good. You see him tightening a tie on one of the footmen. And as you, are you approaching?
Yeah, I would like to, if possible, approach from sort of behind him so that I can hear a little bit what's going on before he realizes my presence.
Yeah, so as you walk up, he's going, now, everything needs to be treated as normal. It was an incident that the Churchills will not want to remember. Let's make sure that we are getting drinks to everybody, and hopefully, this incident will be a faded memory. Smith, I've told you several times. You see him take the tongue and work a little bit of a stain on his lapel. He goes, you need to look the part. We work for the Churchills now. Of course, Mr. Westbrook, of course. And they kind of disperse.
Okay. So, if he's not immediately going somewhere to do something, I will sort of approach around the side of him, not trying to be, sneaky or anything, and say, Mr. Westbrook, I believe it is.
Yes, you are.
Harry Colgate. I used to work with the Churchills. I was a coach driver for many years. Yes.
Oh, excellent. But you're here as a guest.
Yes, I have that honor. I feel a bit out of my depths in such a crowd as this.
I'll be quite honest with you, sir. I don't know how I would handle it. You of course, I would assume you're friends with Mr. Stevens.
Oh yes. No, we worked together for years.
You helped him corral.
Yes. Oh, I did. It's force of habit,
Yes. And he kind of pieces it together.
Right.
Doesn't mention the watch.
Or
the locket. I'm sorry. He goes, "Can I help you, sir?"
Well, I was just wondering if you have a moment. I was hoping to catch up with Mr. Winslow, your predecessor. He and I also had a number of years together. But I understand you came in with your old staff just recently.
Yes, I don't understand the machinations, of course, of how this works. But Sir Blackwood, we have been serving him for several years now, me and the staff, and he informed us that we would be working for the Churchills. I had a short interview with Master Churchill, and he seemed amenable to it. I explained that I would feel most comfortable with the men that I had trained. No offense to Mr. Stevens, of course. He seemed to have no issue with that. So I'm sorry.
No, it's quite all right. Just curious more than anything else. It seems odd for an entire wing of the staff to up and move households wholesale.
I was surprised that he was amenable to it, and I'm sure Mr. Stevens is not too pleased about it, but I feel like we're doing well. This is obviously more than I ever would have anticipated, but quite honestly, working for Sir Blackwood was a bit of a surprise as well.
Was he your first employer then?
I started as a footman in his household, and was quickly promoted. I was actually the butler for Sir Blackwood, so technically a demotion coming here, but who knows? Who knows? Of course, if I hope Mr. Stevens is here for a very long time, but I would feel obligated to continue his great legacy if and when he were to ever retire.
Indeed. Well, the Churchills are always very loyal to their staff if they do the right thing. So I imagine you'll do well for yourself.
Yes, and again, can I get you something? Are you?
No, I'm fine. I'm used to managing for myself, frankly. But I appreciate. I don't want to keep you from what your duties have you doing tonight.
And if we ever have an opening in the household for a carriage for drivers,
I've moved a bit beyond that these days. I'm afraid.
I didn't mean offense. I'm sorry.
No, quite all right. No, I'm just running my own business down in London. I don't know if I'd be ready to head back into the world of the high and mighty. But I do appreciate the comment.
Give me a strange roll, Mr. Harry.
All righty. I mean, I'll probably put a luck back in there because nothing can go wrong with rolling more dice, right?
Right. Everything's fine.
Well, the one thing good about strange rolls, you're not going to affect the doom clock, right? Because any strange rolls
our
successes.
Yeah,
that's one thing that's great about rolling strange.
Okay.
One success.
Let's make that 2 successes.
All right. 2 successes. First success. Westbrook is hiding something. But I didn't have you roll smarts. If you were on a job right now, you're I don't know, how do you treat this? Like, do you get a gut feeling? Like, how do you smell
a lot of
strange?
a lot of it is instinctive for Harry. He just he doesn't have the kind of sense that Elizabetta does of seeing the things that are evil. It's just like something doesn't smell right. It's like he'll be driving down a street and it's just kind of like, that's weird, and he doesn't even always know why.
And that's the prickly feeling you're getting from Westbrook. And again, if you were in the midst of an investigation right now, he would move to page 1 on your.
Make no mistake, I'm in the midst of an investigation right now.
Right. And again, it's not that he's being duplicitous. It's not that he's lying necessarily. It's just something's off. For that second success, he gave me a nice little transition into it. He doesn't smell right. But you cannot, if anybody were to ask you what that means, you can't piece that together.
Okay, so it's not familiar necessarily.
No.
It's just not normal.
Yeah, it's not, and it's not like a bad cologne. It's not BO. He just doesn't smell right.
Okay, and does he have the same sort of pallor, sort of general sense of anemia that some of the other staff do?
Doesn't appear to. He's pale, but he's also English.
Yeah, of course.
No, you wouldn't categorize him like as you would the rest of his staff.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll move my way back to the party proper and just, again, kind of, I want to be aware of where he is and what he's up to without trying to be, stalky.
Yep, I will. I'll keep that in mind. So if there's something I think that would hit your radar, I'll make sure that happens. In the library, William says, of course, you can get back to me in London. You can, whatever it is, and if it's all right, I would prefer that this be just between the two of us.
Oh, of course. Your sister hangs on to you. So I'm surprised you even got away from her, honestly.
Door flies open. William, you can't just run off like that. Oh, Dr. Charlotte. I assume you guys are discussing the experiments?
Of course. Yes. Would you like to sit down and speak about the electrical currents that's happening with his experiment right now?
Oh, I'm sure that we can find time for that to happen this weekend. William, we need to strike while the iron is hot. You have just demonstrated your invention. We need to get in more investors. You're not going to get more investors here. I'm not saying Dr. Charlotte, I'm sure, would be a phenomenal investor, but we need to get back to the party. And he kind of gives you the look like, see, right?
Yeah.
And goes,
Yeah.
of course, Evelyn, of course. Yes, you're right. We will not be finding investors with all of us just chatting it up in the library, of course.
Good luck.
She gives you a bit of a sideways glance. I don't know, I want a heart roll.
Ah! Okay.
Because there's layers of information I could show. Look at you.
Nice.
Damn.
All right. So first success. Really obvious that not only was Evelyn not happy that William was not at the party, Evelyn was not happy that William was alone with you. Second success is as they are leaving, she is physically controlling him, right? So her hand goes onto his back. It's almost like in this day and age, the way a man would control his female accompaniment, right? His wife or whatever would not manhandle, but her hand is square on his back, and she is directing him and controlling him as he leaves. And as part of that second success, you get a bit of a nasty side eye from her. She was not afraid to show that this wasn't okay to you. She was not trying to hide that side eye.
Charlotte, I'm going to say, Evelyn, I'm so excited to get to know you better this weekend.
She does not respond, and they walk out the door. Elizabetha and Lady Rosalind, I believe you two are still in the parlor. Unless we have something else we want to do, the Cowdreys and Mr. Stevens would have left. Unless there's something we want to do before then.
I think I will look at Lady Rosalind, see that everybody's gone, and say, well, I think we'll make our way back to the party.
Yeah, seems to be the only thing really entertaining going on. I'm sure there's lots of great gossip in there, though. Probably some really good food.
Yes, some nice canapes.
Oh, I love canapes. I hope everybody else is all right. Dr. Charlotte took off with the strange one.
Charlotte knows how to take care of herself. She can do that.
Oh, I'm very familiar with that, yes. How do you know Dr. Charlotte?
Oh, we know each other from when we were children. She looked out for me.
Oh, were you in the orphanage as well?
Yes.
I'll give her an up and down look. Interesting. Well then, we should at least go have a good time, and I'm going to take Elizabetha by the arm. Drinks?
Yes, drinks.
Surely something fun will happen eventually. Let's go.
And let myself be led.
All right, and the two of you head back to the ballroom. Dr. Charlotte, the Ashcrofts have left.
Hmm. And everyone is at the party.
They are.
Would I know where the Ashcroft twins' room is, or no?
I don't think so.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, then I'm gonna head back to the party with like this exciting look on my face. Like, oh,
A little project in your pocket.
little
Mhm.
project.
Yeah, let's have the four of you kind of reconvene. Everybody kind of comes back. You find Harry. The four of you are in the corner of the ballroom as the party continues. Alcohol is becoming a part of the party at this point. We're starting to see the effects. Everybody is laughing a little bit louder. More people are dancing. So the level of inebriation is starting to increase as the hours pass here at the party. Lady Rosalind, when you get back and it's the four of you, can you give me a strange roll?
I most certainly can.
And again, if you have any banked luck, you're welcome to use it.
I am going to use it.
So you'll add a skill die and reduce your luck to 0. You guys only need one success.
Keep making stuff up, Craig. It's
I
fine.
know everything. I'm party to all the great gossip.
So what I planned on telling you is one success. I'm going to go ahead and do it, and then we're going to add to that. So for your first success, I would like the four of you to kind of reconvene at the same time. So you and Elisabetta, Dr. Charlotte, and Harry, 3 different parties, just kind of get back together. And when that happens, Lady Rosalind, you smell something. And it is it's like when you are walking by a restaurant and you can smell the food, but you're not sure what you're smelling, right? Are they what are they cooking? What are they making here? You can't even tell if it's a Mexican restaurant versus an Asian restaurant, right? You can smell it. And that's what happens is you can smell this. For your second success, actually still part of the first success, it is familiar. You are not able to identify it. And for your second success, 2 things. One, it's something that does not want to be identified. There's something hidden, is the only word that comes to mind. Someone's trying to hide this smell. Or something is trying to hide this smell. 2, it's coming off of Harry.
I'm going to lean very close to Harry and take a
And Harry
very
kind of
deep breath.
uncomfortably leans away when you do that.
Oh, I'll keep pressing in.
Of course
You smell divine. Where have you been?
I was going to say, I've been talking to Mr. Westbrook, the new head footman in the past few weeks here, who's come here en masse with his entire staff, which, as you may know, isn't the sort of thing that's done in a household like this. And I was going to say, speaking metaphorically, that something doesn't smell right about him. But I'm wondering if it's not strictly metaphorical. There's something odd about him. And have you noticed all the footmen under him? And all this sort of pale, anemic sort. Not like they could use a good meal and a night's rest on the beach. There's something with the footmen that I don't like.
I agree.
And he's watching, Lady Rosalind very carefully to see if that is enough to get her to back off. If that satisfies your question.
With that information, Lady Rosalind, you realize that this is a contact smell. It's not that Harry is putting off this smell. Harry's been in contact and has brought this smell with him.
And it smells like amazing. It smells like the best thing ever.
No. It doesn't smell delectable. It doesn't smell repugnant. It's triggering. Like, this is something you've smelled before, but it's off. And the only thing that second success gave you, that thing, it's just someone's trying to hide the smell. I'm not supposed to be smelling this. And if they weren't hiding it, I would know exactly what I'm smelling. But no, it doesn't make you hungry.
Will you point this person out to me, please, Harry?
Sure, he won't point, but he'll kind of look around and nod. It's the young man over there with the who's directing the guests to the restroom or whatever. Yeah.
And Lady Rosalind, you've encountered him because he's the one that collected the locket from Dr. Charlotte, and you were there when that happened. So you can spot the face.
I'm going to make a beeline for him.
Okay. So soon after Harry points this out, we see Lady Rosalind float away.
Slightly too fast.
Ooh, nice.
Is she always like that?
Sometimes it's worse.
That's true.
But a very fun time.
What are we doing as Lady Rosalind works her way through the crowd?
Elizabeth grabs a canapé, puts one in her mouth, and grabs another two, and kind of, is going to blend back into the crowd or the wall, just try and observe. Every now and then I reach out, and a lot of canapes seem to disappear in her vicinity.
Hopefully nobody's counting.
Look, man, when you're making your life and making your way in this world, you got to get free food when you can.
Literally.
So, Lady Rosalind, as you are beelining it to Mr. Westbrook, between you and him is the prince and Lord Churchill holding court. You don't have to walk directly through them, but you're going to be walking within earshot of them. You can see Prince Albert has the, oh, is she coming here look, right? He kind of, looking at you. Just a sense of a little bit of excitement that you might be past the offenses that you shared and would be coming back to rejoin the group at this party you should be in. You should be a part of this conversation. Aberline and his wife are still there, as is Lusk and his wife. So they have joined this. That's Aberline, you can kind of understand because of what a big deal these Whitechapel murders are. So he's a little bit of a token celebrity, interesting person to have at the party. Lusk, he's way out of his league here, and even in the way he's dressed, he seems out of place. And for him to be part of the conversation that's happening there is something that you definitely note. You're walking past. As soon as the prince realizes you're not walking to them, there's a bit of a disappointment, and if you make eye contact, he's going to kind of gesture to, like, you coming?
I'm going to give him a wink and then continue on my original path.
So the prince is unable to get you to stop, but there's a commotion in that group as what appears to be Lusk's wife collapses to the floor. Oh my goodness. And the prince kind of steps back, as does Churchill, and Churchill's like, where's Stevens? And she is just laying on the floor, and Lusk is on his knees. He goes, My God, Susanna. Could somebody help me, please?
Charlotte. I'll just yell. Charlotte.
Only Henry will spot this, but you'll see me just roll my eyes and walk over.
I felt that you're a doctor.
So, Lady
Out the
Rosalind,
way.
you're going to work your way there, Dr. Charlotte.
Yeah, I'll follow in her wake. Yeah.
Great, Elizabetha.
I'm staying kind of at the fringes, just watching everybody, and I think I'm also going to see if I can see Blackwood anywhere, because I remember he was.
Yeah, you find him. He's still seated where you didn't know this, but where Harry had encountered him.
So I'm just fading a bit back and watching everybody.
Lady Rosalind, this smell that Harry carried with him, you're heading in the right direction. When you get there, Westbrook is talking to another footman, and he says, "We're going to need fresh glasses. Tell the dishman that he needs to step up. We're low on glassware. They are drinking, so we need more food. So please tell the lady chef that the lady cook, that she needs to we need better output from the kitchen. Of course, keep track of Stevens. Go. And he you come on him.
When he turns around, I am very uncomfortable.
Excuse me, madame. I'm so sorry. Are you lost? Do you need something?
Oh no, I think I have found exactly what I'm looking for. Westbrook, was it?
Yes.
What are you, Westbrook?
I am a footman, head footman.
Mm-hmm. And?
Very uncomfortable.
I could imagine so. So perhaps you should just answer my question. What are you, Westbrook?
Give me a heart roll.
Oh, okay. A heart roll. So I'm gonna argue something. I have an experienced palate. I'm trying to follow or identify a scent. I can get an extra talent die.
Oh, that definitely applies, my little gourmet. Ooh. So go ahead and add a talent die to this.
Okay. And you said a heart roll?
Yes, ma'am.
You got it.
Well,
thanks. Talent die.
First success. You can tell Westbrook understands the question. Oh, second success. This obfuscation of his smell. I don't know why you know this. This is getting into strange, and you actually rolled 3 strange in that roll. So I think that I'm going to use that to inform our second success. The obfuscation of his scent is not his doing. So he understands what you're asking him. And this weirdness about his smell is not something he's doing. And you're not sure why that is. Lady Rosalind, and he's trying to physically get some space between you. I'm not sure what you're...
Well, every time he steps back, I'll step forward.
My dear, my lady, please. I'm not. What can I do for you? I don't know quite what you're asking.
Question. You do know what I'm asking.
I have answered the question, my lady. I don't know what else I can say. I have things to attend to. Is there something I can get you? I must be. And he's trying to now turn from you to walk away.
I will grab his shoulder and spin him back around.
Woof.
And I love role playing with you guys.
Has Harry arrived on the scene yet?
So, Harry, you have a decision to make. So, Dr. Charlotte is headed towards the fainting.
Oh, that's right. I was following
Susanna-
her. You're right. I was following
Susanna
her. My
Lusk, right?
apologies.
Elizabetha, you're taking this all in. With your head on a swivel, you of course saw what happened with Lusk. Most of the ballroom recognized this. It was pretty loud, her collapse. You also see that Lady Rosalind is having a stern talking with Westbrook.
Yeah, I think I'm going to change course. Dr. Charlotte clearly knows what she's doing, and I do not trust this lady. So I'm going to, I don't trust either of them, to be honest. So I'm going to sort of peel off and start briskly making my way over towards that corner where Westbrook and Hargrave are.
So, Lady Rosalind, as you grab him and spin him around, and you have no trouble doing that, it was harder than you thought it would be, though.
Ooh, that's interesting.
But you whip him around, and he goes, Lady Rosalind, this is not proper. I'm not sure.
I am not proper.
I don't feel very comfortable right now, and I would prefer it if you unhanded me. And he's not threatening you in any way. His hands are kind of up around his chest as you have squeezed onto his upper arm. And Harry arrives.
Lady Rosalind, surely there's no need to harangue the young man. If he's not getting you the wine that you care for, I'm sure some can be found elsewhere.
I'm going to completely ignore Harry. And I'm going to go, who did it? Who did all of this to you?
Lady Rosalind, and his eyes close. And he goes limp in your hands.
Oh,
you are now holding him up.
I would look at Harry.
You look at Harry?
Yeah, very questioningly.
And a couple things here, Harry. One, he's obviously, I don't know, he's passed out.
Right.
His nerves have gotten the best of him. He's being held up by one hand by Lady Rosalind. And that you note that as well. Let's cut back to the group. And Lord Churchill goes, oh my goodness, she's a doctor. Clear the way.
Gonna rush over, get like on my knees next to her body, make sure she's breathing, seeing what's happened to her to cause her passing out.
Give me a quick smarts roll. Jesus. 3 successes and 1 strange.
We're so good.
So, I'm going to tell you the results of that in a second. Elizabetha, you are taking everything in. You see the manhandling that's happening with Lady Rosalind. You have not recognized that this Westbrook character is now being held up by Lady Rosalind. You see Harry is now attending to that. You see Dr. Charlotte attending to the kerfuffle among the elite circle there. Timing-wise, as all this is happening, I think you recognize Sir Blackwood standing up for the first time and seems to be very interested in everything that's happening right now. He's not doing anything about it, but he's been sitting the whole time. And this is the first time we've apparently gotten his attention. Dr. Charlotte, 3 successes. With 1 strange, too. So let's say first success, she's passed out. So her breathing is not shallow. She's passed out. As you're close to her, this is still part of the first success. You can tell that the clothes she's wearing, that she was really trying to live up to this party, but obviously her and her husband do not have the type of money. So she you see the stitching You can see where she really, this is not something that was bought. She obviously made what she's wearing, and probably for many people is passing it off is far more expensive than it really is. Second success. You are not getting any sense medically what could have caused this. So her pulse, her heartbeat, yeah, you can't suss out what could have caused this. There doesn't appear to be a medical reason.
When I notice that, I'm going to kind of look around the room looking for Elizabetha.
Third success with the strange. She is a older lady, mid 30s to late 30s, early 40s. She has done her hair up quite nicely in a series of buns. She's got kind of a darkish brown hair. Way too young to have that gray streak in her hair. And that's your third success, along with a strange.
Get her to her room now. She needs to lay down and get rest.
Of course. And Stevens pops out of nowhere. He goes, Dr. Charlotte, I hate how busy you've had to be here. But yes, we can take her back up to the room. Mr. Lusk, is that? Yes, let's go. So we are now lifting her up. So Mr. Lusk has now picked her up and is cradling her. Mm-hmm. And he turns to you and he goes, do you mind coming?
Of course. And I want to look around and find our shadow, Elizabetha. Give her eyes. Like,
Elizabetha is concentrating on Blackwood. So I'm afraid she's probably going to miss that. She's watching Blackwood. And she might see you move, but her concentration is on Blackwood.
Then I'll hit the side of my thigh and say, Emerson, come.
And he maybe he was there the whole time, but suddenly he is present. Lady Rosalind, you're holding up by yourself this man. Nobody's noticed but Harry.
It's not exactly what I had in mind. And I will attempt to go over there and sort of, get my hands under his arms and bring him to a chair or a couch or something nearby.
Lady Rosalind?
Oh, I'll let him steer the way, but maybe someone more private.
Yeah, you don't want to see the head footman pass out. Are we near an exit where we could go to a little salon of some kind?
Yeah, let's have a little bit of a kind of a servant's area, staff area, I should say, a little bit of a staff area where they would go, and you see it empty. You see people, staff footmen leaving, and then kind of the door swings, and it's right there. So you guys can work your way into there.
What'd you do to him?
I didn't do anything other than ask him a few questions. This wasn't me. I didn't do it. I was getting really close to something, though, and then they supposedly passed out. Very convenient. So I'll yell it very loudly, and they see if they wake up.
So Harry doesn't have any real medical skill, but he'll check for a pulse, just see, is he breathing, kind of thing.
Yes.
So, what were you asking him that caused this reaction?
Simply what he is.
I could ask you the same thing.
You certainly could.
And I take him on, and it's you can probably tell that I really want to ask that question, but not in a room with no witnesses. So he just kind of leaves that for the moment, and I'm going to kind of go to the door of this little room and see if I can see Dr. Charlotte. She's obviously in the midst of something else.
Yeah, as you open the door back up to the ballroom, you can see her with Stevens, Lusk, and a couple footmen leaving the ballroom. You can see that that Lusk is carrying his wife,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of on the far side of the ballroom. You also hear behind you the door into this room from the staff area open behind you as well.
Okay. Well, turn to see who that is. I'm not going to grab Charlotte from that.
Yes, two footmen with trays are coming through, and you can tell the way that they were walking, they plan on going through this door, then that door.
Okay, I'm just going to step out of their way.
They're like,
He's fine. He'll be fine in a moment. He just
and they set the trays down, and they immediately go to Westbrook.
Okay. Overcome, poor thing.
We have it. I'm so sorry.
No, it's quite all right. Get that. I used to work here. I know what I'm doing. He'll be fine.
Yeah, this is strange. And the one turns to the other footman and goes, go find Mr. Stevens. And he nods and he bolts out to head there. And he goes, we have this. I'm so sorry that we have taken you from the party.
No, it's quite all right. And basically, I'm going to look over at the door, who the guy who just left, and say something to the other footman, sort of like, "Did he look all right to you?" And try and get his gaze going in that direction.
All right,
and
so you're doing that to the person who's remaining with
the
Westbrook?
one who is staying here. I'm trying to get him to look away so that I can take a moment to dip into Westbrook's pocket and retrieve the locket if he still has it.
Ooh, very interesting. Now, I'll remind you that you saw him give it to a footman.
I don't think I saw that. I think somebody else here saw that.
All right, so give me a witch.
I will.
Yep, give me a witch roll.
Okay. Wits is okay. Cool.
Without any difficulty, if you need a refresh on your luck, you can go ahead and grab it.
Yep.
Without any difficulty, you are able to scrape both pockets. There is that bundle that a handkerchief he put in is not in his pockets. The footman kind of looks at the door, looks back at you, not seeing anything. He goes, I imagine startled, sir. Again, we will take care of Mr. Westbrook. He'll get Mr. Stevens. We don't want to keep you from the party, and this is, I'm sorry, very, very sorry to disturb you enjoying yourself.
Does this seem to me like a normal, footman reaction, or do I think he's trying to hide anything?
Give me a heart roll.
Okay. I guess my question is, would this guy be considered, what's the phrasing here? Common folk?
Yeah.
All right. Yep. So I'm going to take an extra die on that because I am renowned among the little people, but not enough to do that.
And you didn't get enough strange.
That's good.
Yeah. You know me, like even failures have a little bit of success with me. This seems normal. Obviously he cares about what's happened to Westbrook. It's obvious Westbrook is fine, I guess. He's more concerned that you're going to go out that door and go talk to Stevens, or even worse, go talk to Churchill. So he's worried about
the optics,
the embarrassment and the optics of this.
Yeah. All right. Well, I will straighten up and, with a look of intense discomfort on my face, offer Lady Rosalind my arm.
All right. Before I turn to take his arm, I'm just going to use my thumbnail to scratch. Just to give him a quick scratch and grab a little bead of blood on my fingernail.
Oh, give me a wits roll.
Yes. Oh, a wits roll. Okay.
And while we're resolving that, what would I roll to notice that?
That would be smarts.
Okay.
I'll take that.
Yeah. You, at the last minute, you got 2 luck in that, though. If you can convert that if you want.
I'll take it. Yep.
I'm going to let you tell me. How do you get away with this? There's only one person that's going to notice, and it's Harry. But our other footman does not notice. What happens?
It's just going to be a very quick movement and just a very subtle, maybe on the back of the hand or, right inside the wrist, something very light. And I'm just going to do it very quickly as I turn to take Harry's arm. And I'm going to smile at him very big because I see exactly how uncomfortable he is. Just give him my best charming smile.
Do you two think, do you know that he knows that you know that he knows? Harry, you see this lady.
I mean, I don't think Harry could keep himself from giving her a look, but he doesn't say anything.
So we have some of Westbrook's blood on the underside of one of your fingernails as the two of you step out. Elizabeth, Blackwood is walking now towards where the Prince and Lord Chamberlain are.
I think I'm going to move, see if I can, staying in the fringes, trying to not be noticed, but just see what I can hear and yeah. So just watching and listening.
A little fly on the wall.
Yeah.
Give me a wits roll.
I'm going to use a luck.
Okay, so you'll add a skill die. No trouble. You are just, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's your stature, what you're wearing, but just people are not acknowledging you, which is what you want, right? So you get within earshot of Blackwood as he approaches the Prince and Churchill. He says to Churchill, he goes, "Randy, you know how to throw a party." "Oh yeah, Blackwood, yes, of course. And there's a nod between the Prince and Blackwood. Blackwood turns back to Randolph. He goes, "I expect this will be in the papers." And you see just Randolph kind of shaking his head. He kind of looks down a little bit. He's very embarrassed by that comment. Let's cut to the grand staircase. Dr. Charlotte, you're behind them. We've got two footmen helping Lusk carry his wife up. They get to the room. Lusk says, "Do you need privacy?" Oh, you're on mute.
Yes.
I'll be right outside. If please tell me as soon as you finish, or if you find something. Or
of course.
And he kind of turns to the footman. Let's give the doctor some room here. She's laying on this canopy bed.
Okay. And I'm talking to myself as I'm like looking her over, looking for like maybe some arcane esoteric marks on her, because it's strange to me that two younger women is starting to age rapidly. There's something else at play here. So maybe they've been marked, and then also I'm going to look through her jewelry case just in case.
So, all right. Well, those are two different things. So, first, we're looking over?
Okay. Yes. First full body scan of her.
Yeah, she's laying there. Her eyes are closed. Her breathing is shallow, as someone who has passed out would be. She's a little warm, but not feverish. You notice. Let's do a wits, not a wits roll. Let's do a smarts roll real quick. Let's see how much you notice.
I would like to use my luck.
And you shall use your luck.
All right.
Success with a strange. Okay. So go ahead and reload that luck because you rolled an additional luck. She's passed out. She's fine. I wouldn't make you roll for that. What this success gives you is, and this is tied to kind of, now you've piecing this together, right? The older heart on Miss Cowley, and then this here. The roots of this gray streak that's in her hair right now, the roots are brown. So if gray hair had grown, you would see brown at the end of the hair, not at the root of the hair, right? So you immediately know she's just not going gray. And it's maybe like 10 or 15 strands of hair that are now have a gray that's there.
All right. What have you been around? Who have you been around? And then I'll check her person to see strange shot. Is there another amulet possibly?
So you dresses of this time, ladies have no pockets, so there's no pockets.
We still don't have pockets.
She has a small, almost decorative purse. You pop that open. It has some makeup in there. Nothing odd. You check her jewelry. Nothing like what was worn by Miss Cowley. No lockets or anything. Again, this isn't very nice jewelry. And in fact, I think one of the silver necklaces she wears, you notice, is tucked not to be seen under her dress.
Okay, I'll inspect the necklace.
Yeah, nothing strange about it. Did we want to go through their luggage?
Yeah.
Okay. So you step away. You start going through the suitcases. There's actually a trunk that was brought. You hear, is everything okay in there?
Yes, just we're almost finished.
All right. So you start going through their stuff. It really reinforces this idea that they are way above their station. As you're rifling through it, you're kind of facing the wall. There's a window. Flashes of lightning. Rain just pouring down to the point that it's now reflective. It's so dark and stormy outside. The panes of the window in front of you are shaking from the weather. The clasp that keeps the window closed is being strained by the winds. And this is an older home. You can hear the wind whistling through the creases of the window. As you were kind of going through things, luckily this window is providing a nice little mirror, a rear view mirror for you, so you're able to see the door to make sure Mr. Lusker, nobody else comes in that door. You can see the what would be likely the servant staff entrance that would allow them in the room without going through the main hallway. And you see Susanna Lusk lying there as you had left her. Wait a second. Why does she look above the bed? You whip around, and her body is slowly raising off the bed.
Mr. Lusk, if you could grab Elizabeth and Lady Hargrave for me, and Harry as well, that'd be great.
Of course. You kind of hear it muffled behind the door. Her body slowly rotates vertical. Feet up. It's somewhat indiscreet, her dress falls as she's now hanging above the bed. I need a fear check. That's a strange check. I will not let you, you can use luck if you want. All right. So luck gives you the success. So you survive. You do not freak out. Before I continue talking, I need to know why. How is Dr. Charlotte watching this woman lift off the bed and turn upside down and not losing your mind right now? Why?
So I often work with the dead. So sometimes they may fall from great heights and I might pick up some additional body parts. So this isn't the weirdest thing I've seen.
This all happens at the same time. You watch both of her wrists break. Her wrists are kind of touching the bed as she's hanging over it, and you just see the wrist go, and you hear the bone.
I'm calling help!
At the same time, her body goes flying into the door. We see her body hit the door and fall like a cadaver at the foot of the door. We're going to go to end credits. We'll be back on the other side.
In the year of 1888, under a moonlit sky so late, Harry hunts the shadows where the monsters lie in wait. Elizabeth's crystal ball reveals the hidden truth. She sees the threads of fate in the echoes of her youth. Dr. Charlotte's mad machines, sparked by a lightning's kiss, in her lab of darkened dreams, she concocts her twisted bliss. Lady Rosalind in satin, with a mask of pure disguise, holds secrets in her gaze behind her emerald eyes. At the Churchill country estate, where the darkness whispers fate, a Halloween masquerade, where fears and masks cascade. In the Gothic halls they roam, far from Whitechapel's tomb. The hunters and the haunted, beneath the crimson moon. In the mansion's haunted halls, where the shadows come alive, the whispers of the Whitechapel murders keep the night deprived. Harry wields his silver blade in search of beasts unseen, while Elizabeth's visions dance in spectral silver sheen. Dr. Charlotte's laugh rings mine through the midnight's chilling air. Her creations stir and shudder with a manic, deadly flare. Lady Rosalind glides through with a grace that chills the bone. In the gallows' eerie glow, they stand together.
All right. A lot going on. One of the things that I want to hear from you guys as the GM, as the director, I always get a little concerned of overload. Right. I have beaten myself of the habit of not giving the players information, and this stupid concept that I'm elongating the mystery. But GMs out there, just tell them. Right. You got to give them information for them to be able to play, and which is what we saw. Though I'm a little worried that I've created too many threads. So I do want to hear from all of you on that. So let's start with you, Dika, because we left with you. Thoughts, stars, and wishes. So let's start with thoughts.
Okay. Thoughts about the threads. I don't think you created too many threads. I think it's one of those situations where this could be like kind of a horror. It is a horror take where everything's not going to be figured out, especially if we don't follow certain threads. So who knows what's going to happen? Like, I like it. I love the options that we have. And it's 4 of us. So sometimes you got to split the party, Scooby-Doo.
Yeah. And the 4 of you all have different abilities or foci, right? So it's, there's things that Lady Rosalind will pick up on. There's things that Elizabetha will pick up on, things that Dr. Charlotte will pick up, and things that Harry will pick up on for Harry's current line of work as a Slayer. So yeah, okay. Well, that makes me feel good. What do you think's going on, Dika?
Okay, hear me out. So I think that maybe the spirit that was left out is sucking the youth from young women. That's like that's all me and Charlotte got, honestly. Charlotte's a lot more smarter than Dika is, though. So,
well, and you believe Elizabetha, right? Because you've known her. So when she tells you something was released, you believe that, and you've gotten pretty good evidence of something being taken from these women of some sort. So that makes sense. Stars.
Oh my gosh! When Harry called us Hecate, just standing, just because it's so funny to see how his particular character reacts to all of us. And that, so it's not hostile. It's not hostile at all. It's just, we're a nice company. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm in a crowd that I am very uncomfortable with.
You're used to being after them, not with them.
Right.
So for those of you watching live, we're doing this again tomorrow. Same time, same channel. This is a Shiver weekend. We're playing back to back. So the episode 3 will be tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. So set your clocks. But Dika, what are you wishing for in episode 3?
Oh, I would say my wish is more so for me to really share just how Dr. Charlotte is, like, because right now she's very restrained, like very put together for other people. So to kind of see that unravel is going to be interesting if it happens.
And here's the feeling I'm getting, and you correct me, but the feeling I get is that Dr. Charlotte may not be able to put up this act for very long. Like being in parties and among the socials, you might be brought in, you're allowed to be here, but I would imagine the strain is starting to get, especially as stuff that you actually are interested in, whether it be the vial of blood in your jacket or a woman being thrown against the wall is there.
Oh, it's exciting.
Amy,
What up?
talk to me about your thoughts.
I like this game a lot. This is my kind of jam, very much so. I also don't think that you've given too many threads to pull at, because ultimately they're all part of the same tapestry. So I'm really looking forward to seeing kind of what that big picture is when we can step back and take a look at it. No, I love it. I think it's great.
What do you think's going on? This is Amy, not Lady Rosalind.
God, what do I think is going on? Oh, I don't know. I've got no clue what's going on. And I think that's the reason that I like it so much, is because
good.
I don't know what's going on. Like normally with films and shows and plays and whatever, I can usually see what's coming, and I can't see what's coming with this one, which makes me really invested in it, and I like it a whole lot because I don't know what's up, and I think that's great. No clue, don't know what's going on, and that's why I like it. Thanks.
Wishes for tomorrow?
Oh gosh, I really enjoyed those couple of small moments where she is like asserting her strength. Um and I'm looking forward to a bit more of that, because right now she's just like, oh, little Lady Rosalind that runs around and has her gossip and her drinks and her food and stuff like that. And then like, now I'm going to show you the real version of me that's not playing a part for everybody that just happens to be watching. And I feel like Charlotte has probably seen that before, but probably the only one. So it's going to be, to kind of giggle at Brian's reaction to Charlotte saying restrained. I also think that Lady Rosalind has been quite restrained as well too, and I'm very looking forward to getting a hold of that drop of blood and seeing what happens to it.
Lady Rosalind has inserted herself into high society in London, and that has given you a good life. Obviously, if people were to discover who and what you are, that would be a huge problem. So how do you plan, or maybe you're just, I don't know if you're planning at all, but that's a tightrope to walk, right? That Lady Rosalind is walking a tightrope. How much of that plays into what you as the player inhabiting her?
A fair bit of it does, because there's always the conscious, like, I am in society, I'm surrounded by people, and I'm being watched by people, because that's the kind of person that I am. People watch what I'm doing. So when you have these kind of moments, it's very selective about where she is, who she's around, and the fact that she was willing to be so like bold with Harry standing right there kind of shows a bigger level of trust than you would expect out of that first kind of meeting, because it feels like, even though we're at very opposite ends of the spectrum, that we both work towards the same goal. And I think that Rosalind can really see that and feel it. She just kind of gets the vibes off of people, and so she's like, yes, I might not know you well, but you know my people, which means you're a good person to know. So
do you think Lady Rosalind recognizes Harry's familiarity with the strange?
I think I can see that kind of touch of it on him. Like, you can always see that little bit of just something different. And I think that Rosalind has seen so much of the same that when she finds something that's different, she latches on to it.
Excellent. So in the chat, Jim says, Brian's reaction to quote unquote restrained is my new star. It was amazing.
I couldn't help it.
Eric Eternal says, hero versus villain is a matter of perspective. And then Mr. Nacho's Muscle says, I think my star goes to Amy, just for the overall vibe of Lady Rosalind grabbing Mr. Westbrook, confronting Harry in a wouldn't you like to know matter. Awesome. So let's go to you, Brian. Thoughts?
Okay. Thoughts. I don't think you as a GM are creating too many threads. What makes it interesting from Harry's perspective is that, all right, there's the whole thing. I feel like the whole thing with the staff and the fainting and the amulet and everything is all connected. And I think that all seems to like start with Blackwood from what I'm seeing. Okay. But there's also this wolf or werewolf thing that may or may not be related, but seems oddly coincidental. Plus, I am dealing with what I think might be a vampire in sheep's clothing.
And who do you think that vampire is? Westbrook?
No, Hargrave.
Oh, gotcha. Lady Rosalind.
Yeah, no, because Harry. I mean, definitely. It's great to hear you say that. You're seeing Harry as potentially a kindred soul. He is not convinced that you are not a bad guy. at
Mhm.
this time. I mean, you're certainly, pinging on all points of his radar. But he's not going to do anything about it yet. But I don't know if you're related to all this stuff yet, but it certainly could be. But for stars, I mean, Mr. Nacho basically beat me to it there. I think Amy was killing it tonight.
Yeah.
Just the sort of, yes, I am, strange and unnatural. What are you going to do about it? Vibe was delightful to play off.
Real
And
quick on
then
that, Brian. And all four of you are this caliber, and it's something I'd like for players and GMs that are watching to think about it. Amy pushed me, right? Amy exerted her character and pushed me as a GM, and I fucking love that. Like that lets me play, right? So for her to assert herself as Lady Rosalind and that thing, don't be afraid to do that. We can often try to temper things and stuff, but just believe the character. And I believed that, and that made for an incredible scene, an incredible moment as a player myself. So I'm with you 100%, Brian.
100%. And then as far as wishes, I have two. One is I want to see Craig get in on the costume aspect of the show.
Yeah.
So go out to some thrift stores this afternoon, Craig, see what you can come up with. But the other thing is I really want to see more of Elisabetta. I mean, I get the whole fly on the wall wallflower thing, which is what I would be doing in a get together like this. But I know there's a lot of fascinating stuff there, and I want to see her strut her stuff, which I'm sure will start happening promptly.
So speaking of which, Naomi, thoughts?
Well, I think you're giving us a lot of information, and at the same time, not enough. So I don't have the feeling. There are a lot of threads, but I have the feeling it all ties in together. It's all just this big Gordian knot, and I do think Blackwood is in the middle of it. So I do get that impression. So I'm just, but other than that, I have no idea. So I'm just loving the ride. I think I'll have to get on the Amy bandwagon. I can just see in my head you just kind of moving nearly on top of Harry like you smelled divine. That was just, I really, really love that. And I think wishes, I'm not impatient, but I'm also looking forward to, I'm also finding Elisabetta. I hadn't really expected her to be a wallflower, but not, well, she's watching, she's being cautious, but I think at some point in time, and that's probably not going to take too long, that crystal ball is going to come out, and the doom clock is going to start ticking up quite quickly, given that I'm, given her particular skill set. So yeah.
Do you have any abilities that tick the clock?
I have the ability to create a minor illusion that will can distract people, give off a foul odor, and that type of thing. And every time I do so, it ticks up the doom clock by 1 minute.
Nice.
So yeah.
All right, going to back to the chat. Eternal Eric Eternal says wishes more ticks on the doom clock.
No.
So he's a fan of that. Dika says in the chat, I feel like the lady is strange, not a vampire. Mr. Nacho's Muscle says, oh yeah, more ticks on the clock would be terrible and amazing to have. Brian in the chat says, major tall vampire lady vibes from Lady Rosalind. And then Amy says, thanks to all. We've got less than 24 hours before we get a chance to play again. So I'm very, very excited. For those of you, watch the social, blah, blah, blah. Part of the reason that the four of us or the five of us are together is that I've got a great community on our Discord for patrons. So that's how I've had a chance to get these amazing tables. So if you want to be a part of that community, just go to patreon.com. See you soon.
Tomorrow.
Howdy, friends. Thank you for watching. All our content is archived and organized in playlists on the Third Floor Wars YouTube channel. Check it out. And if you could like, follow, subscribe, and even set your notifications to this channel on YouTube and Twitch, we'd appreciate it, and it'll make sure that you catch all of our content. I talk with creators, designers, and experts across the gaming landscape in every episode of our podcast, Tabletop Talk. Open up your favorite podcatcher and search for Tabletop Talk from Third Floor Wars. Support your creators. They make the content you love, and it's your support that makes it happen. If you want to help us, go to Third Floor Wars on patreon.com, and you can help us for as little as $1 a month. Thanks again. We'll see you next time. Take care.